All right, my TRIMET entertainment period has now started. Uh, so let's do a little bit of this ridiculous nonsense uh, before we get started. And let me just show you this one thing here on my Twitter. Okay. So if the non-union employees are getting 5% raise above the COLA, why is this not happening for the union employees? And here's the post where this is a letter from Sam without my comment. Hello, non-union employees. I appreciate you. I appreciate all the work you do to keep TriMet moving and on track to the future. And of course, we're talking about a completely failed transit system here. Okay, we know that. It's failed. That's why I'm thrilled to announce a 5.5 salary increase for all non-union. This will bring our salaries more in line with the so-called market, which is nothing but a lie. But they have to, the market is set by these technocracies. There's no market. That's a lie, but we already know that. As we further evaluate our pay structure, see, they're finding ways to steal more and more of the TriMet tax dollars. And they're doing it because this is all of government now. This is not just TriMet. I'm not just picking on them. They are robbing us blind at all levels of government, including TriMet. In this highly competitive labor market, we want you to stay part of TriMet. We understand the work environment pay a long way to make you happy and content. That's why we gave you telework. So not only do they get telework, and they've been home for the last 2 years, but now on top of everything else, they're getting a 5% increase. And that comes on the heels of increasing the employer contribution from 8% to 10%. So they're getting that also. The sock puppets approved it because they're sock puppets. Concerning the salary, efforts have been made in the past. This is a bold-faced lie here because I know what the salaries are around the country. Yeah, they're not the top. You got to go to places like WMATA and Sound Transit. That's where the real port are for these useless technocrats that are destroying your transit system. Our salary ranges have fallen behind. Yeah, sure. It's important to note that the 5.5% increase is separate from the annual merit raises. So you're going to get that too. So congratulations to all of you who are not putting your life on the line, who have been home for the last 2 years. You're getting raises, and the union members are not. Let me just read that last part, With the agency moving forward on salary, our labor relations team has been working with the ATU 757. We want to make sure we're staying competitive. They're not going to give you a raise, okay? Any increase will occur through negotiation. So that's just nonsense. They could just offer the raise. Of course, the goddamn union would say yes. So they're lying as they do. They lie, they lie, they lie. Now, enough of that. On to the stupid ass puppets. We'll do this in segments, of course.
With the meeting. So Kimberly, it's okay to start. Good morning.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Good morning. I'm Linda Simmons, and I'm the TriMet Board President, and I want to welcome you to the TriMet Board of Directors meeting for June 22nd, 2022. Interesting date that we have here. It'll only time that it will happen. We thank you for joining us online.
Look at Sam's smile. He does have the most fantastic smile. That's his strong point, man. He gives you that smile. It's just outstanding.
We're continuing to meet virtually because of the COVID.
Yeah, you get to be virtual while all the operators and everybody else is in the middle of the ship. But you guys, being the elites, get to do everything remotely, and you get a raise on top of it all, while the poor, we have to negotiate the raise. You fucking liars, man.
Pandemic. This morning, as always, we're going to begin the meeting with the public forum.
Although, actually, I prefer it this way, in all honesty. And it's better for public testimony because you don't have to drag your ass in there. But that's not the point. The point is everybody else has to be out in the world. They should be leading as the example of doing that. But they're elites. They don't answer to the same rules that everybody else does. We already know this. We see what's happening in the world. We know there's two countries, one for the elites and one for all the rest of us, aka the serfs. The elites get everything, the serfs get nothing, and that's the situation we're in.
And a reminder that the public forum provides an opportunity for the community to share thoughts, concerns, or feedback about TriMet
and nothing that the community ever has to say actually does anything to change anything. Although I think they did keep, weren't they going to close one of the, I think it was Skidmore. Was it Skidmore? They decided not to do that because of the Saturday market
service. And for those of you who make a comment, we'd like you to know that in order to be recognized, you use the icon on your screen to raise your hand, and when it's your turn, you'll be called on to provide comments. We do ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes, and so we'll go ahead and begin, and Kimberly Anco will call on the first speaker.
Good morning, President Simmons. Our first speaker today is Doug Allen.
Doug Allen.
Oh, Mr. Allen, your microphone is unmuted.
Great speaker.
Good morning, President.
Welcome.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, good morning, President Simmons, directors, and General Manager DeSue. My name is Doug Allen, and I wish to offer testimony on Exhibit A to Resolution Number 22-06-38, Conditions for Approval of the Modified LPA for the Interstate Bridge Replacement Project. Thank you for setting forth these conditions to safeguard Oregon TriMet riders and taxpayers from paying for maintenance and operation of new service to Vancouver. You are right to ask for new revenue to cover these costs. However, as written, the conditions have some ambiguity, and I am concerned that in the final crunch to put together financing, TriMet will be called upon to make contributions that will detract from other capital and operating needs within the district. For example, it isn't clear whether TriMet is offering to pay for expanded service and the necessary fleet and facilities up to the level previously specified in the CRC record of decision. Is TriMet only asking for funding for service beyond that level, or is TriMet asking for funding for the entire cost of service beyond current levels? You need to be clear that TriMet needs the full amount. Also, grade separation concepts for the steel bridge should face public scrutiny and future board approval. It also isn't clear what the phrase forecasted 2485 LRT IBR headways means. The only transit forecasting that I have seen so far anticipates 2045 yellow line frequencies of 8 trips per hour during the peak and 4 trips per hour off-peak. I think that in order to meet Oregon's climate goals with realistic LRT vehicle loading assumptions, TriMet will need to think about 12 trips per hour during peak and much more than 4 off-peak, which is today's frequency. Note that the yellow line originally opened with 5 trips per hour, cut back to 4 per hour to provide the needed capacity when the green line opened. You need funding for whatever full service level is found necessary to meet climate goals. You're on the right track with these conditions, but they need to be clearer that Oregon transit riders and taxpayers will be held harmless, and adequate transit service must be available to produce needed reductions in motor vehicle travel. In all likelihood, this will require funding for both expanded express bus service on I-5 as well as more frequent light rail expanded to Vancouver. Thank you for your time.
All right. My opinion on that is that TriMet can't even serve what it has. The whole idea of expanding anything is abhorrent to me. It shouldn't be happening at all. But you know how it goes. We don't make this is all a giant pork barrel for the elites. So it will go forward. And I'm sure it won't meet the needs of the community. And I'm not in favor of light rail at all to Vancouver. not at all.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. I appreciate your comments. Kimberly next.
President Simmons, we have one other speaker today. Camden Mcoan is the speaker, and the microphone is now unmuted.
Hi there. Thanks for having me. I just had some questions on the feasibility study for the tunnel under downtown. Obviously, I know it's very early on, so it's very nebulous and vague right now, as expected. I was really just curious if there was
Is he talking about? He just said the downtown tunnel. Oh, for crying out loud!
any consideration to, instead of completely bypassing all of downtown, to perhaps having one underground stop at maybe Pioneer Square for transfers or something like that. Because it seems to me the main issue for getting across downtown isn't necessarily that it goes to downtown at all, but that there are, one, many stops downtown, and they are all at grade in mixed traffic, and so it goes very slow down there. I've made that trip many times, and I understand it's very painful. And so I wonder if we could solve that same issue while still serving downtown. You know, there are many people who would come from the east side and would need to get downtown, but that stretch through Old Town and the close to the waterfront is still pretty painful. And I think this could also set us up in the very long term for, you know, maybe something like express routes or, dare I say, towards a metro. You know, it's very long term thinking, but it can be helpful to set yourself up for maybe a little bit less work far down the line. Just general curiosity, but appreciate the time. Thanks.
Thank you. Actually, an underground under the river under through downtown Portland has been discussed within the agency. So good thoughts, and definitely in the future should it come to be. All right. Since there are no more individuals.
All right. I don't want to do too much of this shit because it's very annoying, and that's 12 minutes. That's enough for today. I'll come back tomorrow with the next segment, which will be the board report.